Okay,
I think we're live now.
are we here? Is it you? Is it me? Is it us? We're live. Who's coming? All right. Market research part 2. I feel like this is a really packed
Training.
training. It's content heavy.
Content heavy. I like it.
Welcome everyone. This is Liv. I don't think our voices sound that much alike, but we've been told otherwise if we hang out together too much. So we are here back with part 2 of our market research training. We're going to talk all about invitations today and outreach and give you lots of scripts. And ultimately, I feel like learning this is just going to help you feel more confident, like getting on the phone with people and learning about your ideal clients. So anything you want to add, Katie?
Now I'm ready to rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll then.
So just a quick revisit from part 1, which the video is available in our Facebook group, and it's also will be available when we share the replay of this. But every business starts with market research, and this is the process of gathering info on what your ideal client needs, wants, and prefers. Whether you're doing something new or you're in new times, which is what we're in right now, it's easy to get overwhelmed and worry that your work isn't relevant. So you need to really represent yourself to who you can serve and how you can serve them. Liv and I we've been working with life coaches and service-based entrepreneurs for, gosh, 7 years each now. And so what we constantly are hearing lately, whether someone's totally new to the entrepreneurial game or they've been it for years and years, is that they feel nervous about selling and they don't know what to sell. And we really feel that now is a really important time for women entrepreneurs in particular to rise up and continue to grow their businesses in very socially aware and impactful ways. And so we don't want you to hide and not do your business. That doesn't serve anyone. But it is a time to evolve. And the main thing is you need to find out what's going on with your clients right now. So as you're watching this training, if there's someone that you know needs to see this, I encourage you to share the link with them or tag them in the comments and bring them in on this training and this conversation. Word. So, summary of part 1. Oh my gosh, my voice. And again, this is covered in the part 1 training, but just to give you a quick summary, what we talked about was the planning of your market research. So writing your hypothesis, like what do you think is going on with your people? Then putting together quantitative and qualitative questions for your research, which of course we dig way more into in that last lesson. Choosing your approach, how will you talk to people, and then designing powerful question sets. And so everyone was supposed to prepare for today.
I know they did.
Their question sets to the table, and we gave a ton of examples. So if this is your first training and you haven't watched the first one, that's okay. But make sure you go back and watch the part 1 training. And Liv's going to kick us off with part 2.
Yeah, baby. Okay, so part 2, what we're covering today is creating your invitation, how to share it everywhere, and how to schedule your calls. And what Katie and I kept running into when we were putting this together and like really looking back is like last week we talked about emails, surveys, and phone interviews. But even with the surveys and emails, like there's an option to invite people to calls, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. But the realest and deepest value that we've ever gotten is really on the phone, so in conversation. And so we'll talk about how to make that happen. Okay, so you have your hypothesis and your questions ready, hopefully. Now, how do you invite participants? So, the first part of creating your invitation is deciding how you will engage with your community, your followers, and your audience through the survey, the email, or the phone interview. Many of you probably already did this. For each avenue, you will need some type of invitation. It can be shared on Facebook, Facebook groups, Instagram, stories, LinkedIn, emails to your email list, or directly to past clients, leads, colleagues, friends, personal connections. Start with what you've got. And I added that in there because really, when I was truly starting, I don't even think Facebook groups existed yet. Instagram was like not what it is today. Facebook, I really was using more for friends, but what I was using a lot was LinkedIn and just emails that I had gathered from like friends and acquaintances and just other professionals that I had known, and a lot of colleagues. And so, even if you only have 5 or 10 or 20 emails, like you got to start where you are because that's like literally what you have. You have to work with what you've got. So if you're doing a bulk market research effort, you're going to want to post a lot. Think 3 to 5 days daily at minimum. And so when we say you need an invitation, it things like just posting a link to a survey or posting a link to book a call just don't convert. So you actually need to craft a thoughtful invitation that inspires people to learn more about you, get on the phone, fill out the survey, and be a part of this process. So to keep your efforts consistent and always be filling your pipeline, offering it on an ongoing basis as a way to connect with new people is totally valid. And even like we talked about last week, like constantly engaging with your audience, whether it's through a Facebook poll or through an Instagram. I guess they're still called polls too, but that can be a regular way. But I think that it's always valid to do surveys, phone interviews at least a couple times a year, and definitely when the world is changing and definitely when your product suite or services are changing.
So now we're talking about creating your invitation. You want to write your market research invitation. You know what you're inviting people to because you put together your question set, and now you want to invite people, like Liv said. So ask yourself these questions: why are you doing this research? Why are you doing this research? And if you're listening live or you're watching the replay, go ahead and tell us in the chat box, why are you doing this research? Who are you looking to speak with? Who are you looking to speak with? How long do you want to connect? Usually market research calls are only 15 or 20 minutes. And then from there, you'll be able to see if they're a potential client, if there's a way to collaborate, if you want to have a follow-up conversation, which we'll be talking about next week in part 3, and how to, convert that or make that transition. How do you want to connect? Do you want to connect on the phone? Is this a video thing? What's appropriate for what the environment you want to create? What gift will you give them in return? We really believe in thanking people for their participation and their time. So will you give them a free session? Will you give them a free download? We've got some examples. And then if they aren't a fit, how should they introduce you to someone who is? So we just want you to be super prepared for these conversations. And market research is not a scary thing, like Liv just said on the last slide. Like, it's something that we recommend that you're constantly doing, like constantly talking to new people, constantly having consultations, constantly doing market research. And that is how you fill your business.
Yeah. And what Katie just read really too is like that's the outline. Those questions are the outline for writing your invitation. Of course, you'll infuse it with your own language and vibe and all of that. But if you can answer those questions inside of the actual post or text or email, that's what needs to be covered.
And we're getting into a bunch of examples, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So here's the general sample.
Okay, you go.
I thought we agreed to go slide by slide.
We'll slide by, but I thought I said topic, but it's fine. Do it.
Okay.
I trust you.
Look at us guys collaborating on the spot. Okay, so here's a general sample. Hi there, I'm doing research for a new offering. I'm looking to speak with blank who blank. So women who are leaving relationships, whatever, like you can fill in those blanks. If that's you, I would love to connect for 15 minutes. As a thank you, I'd love to gift you a complimentary coaching session. DM me, comment, email me back. You probably want to just choose one of those. If you'd be willing to help me out. If you know someone who fits the above, I'd love for you to tag them, introduce us, or forward this email. Thanks in advance. So that is kind of the general scope. Why you're doing it, who you need to talk with, how long it's going to take them, which is like ding, ding, ding. How much effort do they have to put in? How much time do they have to block off, right? You're giving them a gift. And if they're not the right person, you're asking them to introduce you to someone who is. And we're going to give more specific examples. Now Katie is, because she's doing the next slide.
My teacher directing me. Okay, so here's a sample for a survey. Hi there, I'm doing research for a new program for women who are feeling burnt out at work. Is this you? If so, I've created a quick 10-minute survey to help guide me in making sure this program supports women in going from burnout to badass. As a thank you, I'd love to gift you my 5-minute daily meditation series. If you are feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, please click the link below to complete the survey. I promise, I missed an I promise this meditation series will help you get started on your path to feeling way more badass. If you know someone who fits this, please feel free to send them the link or tag them below. Thank you so much. So like these, you want to use your words in your language. We're giving you a blueprint, but obviously you can make these longer or shorter or make it more your language, how you talk. And the more you show in all of your marketing communications, the more you're going to reach your ideal client and your audience.
Totally. Even like throw in a picture of yourself or yourself at work or something, like make it attention grabbing and really like on brand for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is an email sample. And remember, we went through these again in part one, but the emails typically, like you could send them to your whole list, or you could send them to a more curated list inside of your list, if you know what I'm talking about. Like perhaps you have people who have already opted into things, so they're a little bit hotter of leads or warmer of leads. Or like I said, like Olivia used to do back in 2013, 14, 2013, end of 13, I would just email like all my friends. So anything goes. Hi, so-and-so, how are you? First, I've been thinking about you and I want to check in with how things are going. I've been hearing a lot about the challenges that small businesses are facing with marketing and social media right now. So I wanted to see what was going on for you in this realm. Do you have 5 minutes to send me a quick reply? I'm working on a new program to support small business owners with social media strategy, and I have 2 quick questions. One, what is or are the main social media platforms that you are using? Quantitative question. 2, what is the greatest obstacle when it comes to using social media to gain more clients? Qualitative question. As a thank you, I'd love to offer you a complimentary 15-minute laser coaching session. Please send me a reply by Friday and I can send you over to a link to book a session with me. Looking forward to it. So that's an email one. It gives them, it says like, I just need 5 minutes. I noted when I was reading that there was one quantitative question and one qualitative question. Again, we talked about that last week. But I think when you're doing an email and you're really only looking for someone to answer 2 questions, it can be helpful to think of, one of each type of question, one that gives you a little bit more absolute value or concrete information, and one that's more narrative and more, I don't know what the word is, open-ended. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did I click next? Oh, I went.
Now, oh, create, okay. What happened?
I clicked it twice.
Oh, okay. Okay, so here is a sample script for a phone interview. Are you considering an entirely new career path right now? I keep hearing about more and more people who are reconsidering everything. As a certified career coach, this is something I work with clients on every day. But I need some help from you to gain clarity on what support people need around making this major life decision. If this is you, looking at new options, realizing what you're doing isn't what you want to be doing anymore, unsure of your next steps professionally, we need to talk. I'm opening my schedule for 10 15-minute interviews to learn, listen, and offer support. In exchange for your time, you will get my career roadmap kit and a 30-minute private coaching session with me. So generous. To book your call, I'm like so into this one. Click the link below. If you know someone who fits this description, feel free to share this post or tag them. I can't wait to learn from you and offer some coaching support. So I just love this so much because, I mean, phone market research has always been my favorite mode because I think it just creates a connection so quickly. You get to talk to people, you get to know them. And often they sign up to work with you in some capacity because you're showing up from a place of giving. Like, yes, you're asking for people to answer some questions, but people love to talk about themselves and they love to share what's going on for them. And once they start sharing and opening up, you're going to be giving them advice and guidance and coaching and support. And then when you thank them with something so generous, this career mode roadmap kit and a 30-minute private coaching session, it's just like so worth it for someone to spend those 15 minutes with you. So I really love this approach. And yeah,
Cool. Me
I
too.
think it works really well.
Like fall in love with being on the phone with people as an entrepreneur. Like you have to get super comfortable, like talking about your work, being in the role of service, especially obviously as a coach. But I used to be afraid of being on the phone at all. So if you've ever felt nervous to be on the phone, like let's work it out right here, right now. Let us know in the comments and we'll help you. Okay, so now how do you get people to participate and offer their valuable feedback? So you want to share it everywhere. Like you're going to craft these beautiful invitations. And at the end of this, we're going to kind of give you your weekly to-do list because there is a part 3 next week about like what to do with the information, how to do, additional follow-ups, potentially convert some of your participants into clients. And so you're going to have a few invitations that you create a few different versions. And the thing is that you have to share it everywhere. So make a list of where to share. If a colleague or acquaintance seems like your ideal client, put them on your list. Anytime someone appears to fit the mold of your ideal client, say, hey, I'd really love to talk to you more about the area in which you can help. Set up a time to hop on the phone and have the conversation on the spot. So this can also happen via DM or over email or on Facebook Messenger or whatever. You can post it on your IG feed, in your stories, on Facebook, in other groups, on LinkedIn. I do feel like LinkedIn is a really good spot for this kind of thing. Or send it in an email. No need to be shy. People actually do like helping other people. Shocking. But even like I bought a, what is that thing I bought, Katie? Oh, you're not gonna know. The Ring doorbell. And I was actually obsessed with their customer service and their follow-up, but like they kept sending me this survey link. And I'm like, you know what? Like I actually do, like, because I really enjoyed them and I liked what they had been sending me, because you're like on an email list because you have to get it through an app and stuff. I wanted to help, right? And so if a huge company like Ring Doorbell, where there's really no personal connection whatsoever, can get me to do their survey, I'm sure you can get a lot of people to help you with yours. How about other networking groups, church, neighborhood community board, yoga class, Zoom happy hour, the cafe down the street if it's open? Where else can you engage with your ideal clients? You have to be willing to share it everywhere. And like we mentioned before, 3 to 5 days of marketing this is probably sufficient depending on your audience and your engagement level. Daily, if not multiple times a day, or at least multiple different places a day would be great. I don't know if anyone uses the app. I think it's called Nextdoor. But I mean, if you are looking to work locally, like something like that could also be a great place for you to share your work and a little bit about your business and who you can help in your local community.
Get your call scheduled. Okay, so this is my favorite part because this is where like it all makes sense. You want to start scheduling your calls, and this is the takeaway step, the action step that we're going to leave you with at the end of today too. So your next step for surveys, the way that you make a call for a next step on a survey, not a call, like an invitation, not a phone call, is by offering a phone call. So at the end of your survey, this isn't required, but what we recommend is that you ask a final question that says, would you be willing to be on a call to dive deeper into your answers? Would you be, and you can get more specific. Would you be willing to do a 15-minute market research call with me to dive deeper? If you're doing an email exchange, so if you've been going back and forth over email per our examples, and you're like, okay, the email conversation's kind of dying out, what do I do next? again, not required, but once you get a response and you've gone back and forth a bit, or even when you get their initial response, you can say, "Thanks so much for sharing so openly and vulnerably with me. I'd actually love to dig in a bit more and have some follow-up questions. Would you be open to hopping on the phone for 15 minutes with me?" So we recommend that you make the call or you make the invitation for phone calls, you make the invitation for the survey, and that you send out some emails. We recommend that you do this as broad with as reach as many people as you can, you get as much information, and you get yourself into as many conversations as you can possibly get yourself into. The mistake people will make, and when they'll say like, "Oh, I tried it, but it didn't work," in that exact voice, but they'll say, "I tried it, but it didn't work." It's like they posted the survey in one place and then one person filled it out. Like, it doesn't work like that. Even and we're a growing company, but we have maybe a little bit of a larger network than some of the people watching, and you might say, "Oh, well, for you it's easy." We send out surveys, we send out multiple emails about surveys. We'll DM people and say, "Hey, could you fill out this survey?" Like, we definitely get scrappy and go, we work it to get feedback, to get response. And one thing that we're doing right now is like with our affiliate program, we have over 200 affiliates, and we just did a survey with them. And, we got a percentage of people replied to the survey, but not the entire amount of people. And then what we're doing as a next step tonight is we're hosting a town hall for our affiliates. So you can you want to be getting the survey data, you want to be doing the emails, but you want to then be opening up into a conversation and moving them forward and getting to know them better and better and better, because that's what really increases the chances of working together.
Love it. Phone calls. Okay. So in our manifesting powers, as the requests roll in, you have to schedule your calls. So just know that everyone's going to want to get on the phone with you and share about their life. So as this starts happening, you want to schedule your calls. One way to do this, and this was something that I used to do all the time. Again, I think it was kind of like a manifesting thing, but block off the times in your calendar that you want to be seeing clients and use those times for market research calls until they actually fill with clients. So what I used to do at the beginning, whether it was for market research calls or like discovery calls or consultations, I would make myself available for certain hours each day that I knew I would ideally like to have clients booked up in. And at the beginning, I instead used those times to fully commit to getting on the phone and talking to people. So if you're really not sure where to start, like this is where you start. Like take those chunks of time where you're like, God, I wish I was like on a client call, but I don't have a client. Spend that full hour booking calls or doing calls, whether they're market research or consultations. That's how this shifts to the next thing of actually being clients. Do as many market research calls as your schedule can handle. That might be like 5 to 10 when you're making a marketing push or like developing something new. And then 1 to 2 consistently, meaning that you talk to 1 to 2 new people for market research every week. And again, like ideally it can be a call, but it can also start through DM or something like that then turns into a call. The whole thing goes back to like what Katie and I have always said, like you have to be talking to people every single day about your business, and market research just gives you a reason to do that. It gives you some type of like motivation for sure, and also like it gives you more purpose in speaking to people. So tell one new person every day what you do. The idea that business combos have to happen in a certain way couldn't be further from the truth. Find a way to bring up what you do in daily conversation. The best clients can come from post yoga chats or in line at the grocery store. Did you add that? I love it. Okay. Post yoga chats or in line at the grocery store, of course. I would also personally like to add they can come from a dog park in my personal experience or a bar. They can also come from thanking someone for following you on Instagram or connecting with you on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. I actually heard of a new social media platform. That's a conversation for later, but I want to look into it. Okay.
Was it TikTok? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I heard they're taking that down though.
They are?
I heard that. I mean, I'm
Oh.
into conspiracy theories, though. I've heard it's like evil workings of. Anyway.
Okay. Anyways, so scheduling your calls, stay tuned for that one. So connecting with people on social media, are you getting a few new followers every week? Like, that's enough. You really have to realize that people don't reach out. They don't welcome their new followers. They don't say, "Thank you so much for following me," um, and start asking them questions about themselves. So if you are connecting with people on social media and that's a space that you use, and you're getting a few new friends or followers trickle in every week, or likes from new people on Instagram, that's plenty, okay? The key is engaging a step further. So, and this is where most people miss the opportunity. Here's a sample script to take that relationship to the next level and learn about your prospects' wants and needs. Hey, name. I'm so happy we're connected on Instagram. I'd love to know more about you. I see that you, and here's where you want to check them out and pay attention to what they're up to and acknowledge it, right? So I see that you're a coach that works with new moms, or I see that you work with people around grief, or I see that you're whatever it is. How did you find me? Either way, I'm so happy we're connected now and look forward to hearing more about you.
Love it. I want to repeat something that I've said on a previous training, and I want to say it again. It's like when we wrote here, like check them out, pay attention to what they're up to, acknowledge that they're here. It's like I think sometimes we go into marketing and we like post things and we expect people to just engage with us. And I think if we're expecting people to engage with us, then we truly have to engage with them. Sorry. Like we have to be willing to give as much as we're hoping to receive, especially when we're marketing on social media. So it's like you want more likes, you want more replies, you want more link clicks, you want more people DMing you. You also have to be willing to do the same. And so you
Mhm.
when you're doing this and when you're truly trying to connect, like actually take a look at people's lives, learn about them. Like this is the foundation of building a relationship. And if you're in the business, especially of one-on-one coaching or one-on-one service provider, there's no way that's happening unless you build the foundation of a relationship. So
Yeah.
put the effort in here because you're probably going to learn something new. You're going to connect with someone new. You're going to build a relationship, a friendship, a client, coach client relationship, something. But it takes that nurturing and it takes that genuine, authentic getting to know people. Okay, so things to consider. Oh, I think I just like totally did this slide off the cusp, forgetting that I wrote it all down. Okay, things to consider before you write an invite. Au-
Oh.
Authenticity, genuine connection, and coming from service are what matters the most. Oh my God, I'm so funny. Okay, you're building relationships, so get excited about this part of business. You must love this and see it as high value and an integral part of business building. Remember, in relationships, there is give and take. Be open to giving, support, acknowledgement, information, your opt in, what, like just like in the invitation, give them something for free for participating, at least 3 times as much as you're asking for. And I actually got that information from one of my good friends who's also a coach. And she always says, like, if you're asking for something, you need to give 3 times as much. And I believe that to be true. So think about that when you're posting and sharing your invitations. Have fun. This is about showing up to serve and curating the most amazing offer that is going to change lives. When this is your purpose, the fastest way to success is to lean into it. Enjoy the conversations you're in, the creative process, and the development of your new life-changing offering. I think that's really the key. Like we get so caught up in the to-dos that we forget to enjoy the process. And I think when you come from that place of purpose and joy and fun and connection, your results are better, you feel better, and you get better, you make better connections ultimately that, you know, could turn into clients or will turn into clients. Now here's all your homework. Woo!
So the first thing is taking action. We want you to create your invitation by using the question prompts in the previous slide. Why are you doing this research? Who are you looking to speak with? How long do you want to connect for? How do you want to connect? What gift will you give them in return? If they aren't a fit, how should they introduce you to someone who is, right? Write out 3 to 5 versions of your invitation. You might need to test a few to see what connects most with your audience, and it's even worth doing different versions because you might pull in different people based on the words that you use, and also updating your invitation as you see what people respond to, as you see what really lands for people. Post your invitation, send the emails, share the surveys, and book the calls. We suggest setting a goal for calls booked and announcing how many calls you'll be taking and by when. So saying, I have 10 spots this week for these types of calls. And then join us back here next week for part 3, conduct and analyze. We're going to talk about how to do the phone interviews, how to convert participants into clients, and how to analyze and integrate the data into your work. And we're hoping that by next week, you have a few calls booked, and we'll be giving you exactly what you need to know to be able to conduct those calls effectively.
Perfect. Love it.
Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you, everyone. If you have any questions when you're watching the replay, or you want to, workshop any of this, feel free to post in the comments, and Katie and I will be checking them, between now and next week, and be back Thursday, noon Eastern, for part 3.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Liv.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.